Hey everybody, welcome back to Quick Capsule Review. My name is Tom, and today I wanted to talk about some, I guess, quasi-Halloweeny movies. We got Last Unicorn, which was based on I think a novel by Peter S. Beagle and produced by Rankin Bass, a little cartoon. We got Hawk the Slayer, which was just a bonkers 870s movie. We'll get into that in a second. And then we have Starcrash, which is also an extremely bonkers cult classic by Roger Corman. I could never remember Hawk the Slayer guy's name. I have to write it down. John Terry. I just wanted to get that out because that dude is so vanilla. I actually just saw him in a Full Metal Jacket as the reporter for Matthew Modine's Private Joker. He was like the head of the press corps in Vietnam. I was like, whoa, it's Hawk being badass. Not really. But anyway, let's start with Last Unicorn. First of all, if this movie had been made today, they would have had a tremendous marketing opportunity with Red Bull because that's literally the name of the villain. But it concerns a character who is a unicorn named Almathea, played by Mia Farrow, who encounters possibly the most obnoxious and annoying side character I've ever seen in my life. This like weird like singing butterfly that knows something and won't spit it out. It's one of the worst supporting characters I've ever seen. But anyway, he suggests to her that she's not the last unicorn after all. Each unicorn, I suppose, lives in a forest that's sort of like evergreen and protected while they're there. And so the other forest creatures aren't keen to have her leave, but she does. She gets captured by a band of like sort of like traveling gypsy wizard sideshow barkers along the way, and meets a wizard played by Alan Arkin. And from there they do encounter the Red Bull and some other supporting characters. It's got like a weird cast. The actors they chose were really good. They had Jeff Bridges, who in a way Jeff Bridges kind of plays like the first brony because he falls in love with Almathea in human form, of course, but when confronted about the fact that she's a unicorn, he's like, I love who I love, all right. Yeah, anyway, another groovy Jeff Bridges appearance. Also had Christopher Lee as sort of like this Mad King figure. But it's okay. I mean, like there were some questionable decisions in the animation in this. It was, like I said, it was done by Rankin Bass. They're I don't know. Rankin Bass sort of makes Don Bluth or whatever look like Walt Disney. Like they're a little rough. Um, but they what was the weird? Yeah, there's just some weird stuff in that. Also, this movie had um one of the my most misremembered film scenes of all time. I distinctly remember as a kid watching this. There's this majestic scene with this skeleton king sitting on a throne, and they offer him wine, and the wine like trickles through his jaw onto his rib cage and all this stuff. Literally none of that happened. They meet the skeleton, who I guess they trick with some wine to get some information, but I remember the scene completely differently than when I just saw it, and it just goes to show like what a mutable weird thing memory is. But yeah, and there's this one scene where there's one of Alan Arkin, who's like I said, sort of an apprentice wizard. One of his spells goes awry and turns this tree alive, and I guess the joke is he's supposed to be like clutched to its bosom because it sort of turns anthropomorphized. But that tree just looks like he's stuck between two balls, and the tree's a giant shaft. It's one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in a children's movie, unless you count BC Rock as a children's movie, which you definitely should not. Anyway, moving on to Hawk the Slayer. I called this at the start of this video an 870s movie, which is a wonderful term I saw. I was watching a review of it. 870s is the very narrow period between about 1980, 1982, when Hollywood sort of had a distinct little cultural period. And so many of the Stormbreaker Films movies we watch have been 870s movies. Hog the Slayer, I believe, was 81. You can double check me on that. If I'm wrong, leave a comment in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure it was 81. And then like some of the other ones we watched, like Wolfen, Looker, like they're all sort of in this like weird little era that's neither 80s nor 90s. And I just love that. But Hawk the Slayer, I remember fondly as a kid. I still think of it fondly, having just watched it. It holds up in a kind of a weird way. I don't know. It's about Hawk the Slayer, and much like The Last Unicorn, it's got the last. He is allied with the last dwarf, the last giant, and the last elf in this story against Jack Palance, who is terrorizing an abbey full of nuns and kidnaps one of them. Jack Palance is Hawk's brother. Hawk is a badass swordsman who has a weapon called the Mind Blade that can return to his hand at will. And he and his elder brother, I believe he's elder brother. Yeah, he looks like he's fucking like 40 years older. It's so weird. There's a lot of like strange decisions in this movie too, like why there's an abbey full of nuns with Christian crosses in a world of dwarves, but you know what? That's the charm of the movie. It's wonderful. Also, this movie had a bit of a revival recently because Garth Ennis wrote a comic book sequel to it at long last. And I definitely recommend you check it out. I love how he handles Voltan, the Jack Palance villain in that one, in the sequel. But yeah, I love it. The music is remarkable. And somebody pointed out like every single scene in this movie, with the exception of some of the church scenes, may have all been filmed in the same like woodland clearing. It's really a great use of what they call a scalable film idea. But some of the characters he encounters includes this character named Crow, the elf, who I think they had some bit about him on Simon Pegg's Space show. They're like, oh yeah, I love Crow the elf. I quote him all the time. And like he literally has like almost nothing quotable in the whole movie. He barely talks. At one point, they're like, they kill Jack Palance's son rather than give in to a ransom demand, and the nun's like, we could have had peace, and Crow's like, the peace of the dead. And then in the Garth Ennis comic, he actually he adds like weird dashes and stuff to his dialogue so that he has that same kind of jilted speech. It's actually really fun. Hopefully they'll collect that up soon now that the series is over. Anywho, moving on to Starcrash, which I literally just watched because I've been watching the Oral Knots Larry series, which is based on the Obi-Wan TV show, and it's part of their Oral Knots like creepio universe of movies. And definitely check out the Oral Knots if you haven't checked them out. They're funny as hell. The first they started with episode 1, and it's called I think it's like The Revenge of Middle Management or something like that. I can't remember, but they basically have reconstructed the entire prequel universe so that C-3PO is the ultimate villain, and it's just wonderful. I see you. Anyway, so they sampled Starcrash in one of their Obi-Wan episodes, and it intrigued me enough to finally sit down and watch it. And there is like legit somebody's wielding a white lightsaber, which I don't know if you're deep in your Star Wars lore like I am, but the only other time I've seen a live action white lightsaber was from the KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut ads, when the Yokero Taco Bell Chihuahua was like driving a battle droid tank, and there's some hot chick playing like a Pizza Hut delivery girl with a blaster, and they cast Colonel Sanders as a white lightsaber wielding Jedi. Probably the only time where the fast food tie-in ads were better than the actual movie. But so yeah, there's a white lightsaber in play, not very much. Also, 2 curly-haired male protagonists, which is too many for any film. But there's also a hot chick. There's Ray Harryhausen-esque, maybe even actual Ray Harryhausen. I'm not even sure. Stop motion Colossus in it for some reason. And it's just a really strange sci-fi universe populated by just a series of mashed together B movie tropes. There's sort of like wild caveman planet, and Christopher Plummer plays the benign emperor of the universe who has a button that can freeze time. So he's got a pretty strong position, I'd say. Yeah, oh, and the girl in it is simply too adorable. The lead actress, very cute. And David Hasselhoff appears briefly, just long enough to wield the other curly-haired male protagonist lightsaber. But he's kind of fun. I don't know. I wouldn't describe it as a good movie exactly. It definitely had a lot of the hallmarks of Roger Corman. You know, it was filmed on the cheap. And there's this weird space cop robot named L, who has definitely been to Space Hooters and is a highly entertaining character. But I don't know. Yeah, you get to an age where you just kind of want to watch stuff that's like quality, like the kitsch factor starts to fade. But watching these three, it kind of recaptured some of the goofy joy from my childhood. And if you're an 870s baby like me, check them out. Anyway, that's it for now, and hope everybody has a happy Halloween from all of us at Stormbreaker Films. We will be in touch. Okay, bye.